Welcome to Biography with Plutarch, where we delve into the lives of remarkable individuals, seeking to understand the intricacies of their character and the events that shaped them. Today, we embark on a fascinating journey through the life of Joan Baez, a name synonymous with the American folk music revival and a powerful voice for social justice. Born on January 9, 1941 in Staten Island, New York, Joan Baez entered the world during a time of great upheaval. The United States was on the cusp of entering World War II, and the nation was filled with uncertainty. The sounds of air raid drills and the smell of rationed food wafted through the streets as families like the Baezes huddled around radios, listening to news of the war effort. Her father, Alberto Baez, a Mexican-American physicist, and her mother, Joan Baez, a Scottish-born woman of Quaker descent, would soon move their family to California, seeking better opportunities and a more peaceful life. The sun-kissed landscapes and mild climate of the Golden State would provide a stark contrast to the gloom of war-torn New York, and the Baezes would find solace in the warm embrace of the Quaker community. As a child, Joan was exposed to a unique blend of cultural influences that would later shape her artistic expression and commitment to social justice. Her father's love for traditional Mexican music, with its rich harmonies and poignant lyrics, would often fill the family home. He would play the guitar, his fingers deftly plucking the strings as he sang classic ballads like La Cucaracha and El Paso. Joan's mother, meanwhile, would regale her with stories of Scottish folklore and the Quaker values of compassion, equality, and peace. These diverse cultural threads would weave together to form a rich tapestry, one that would inspire Joan's future music and activism. The Baez family's frequent moves, however, meant that Joan often found herself in new environments, navigating different social circles and learning to adapt quickly. This nomadic childhood would instill in her a sense of resilience and openness to new experiences, as she learned to make friends with ease and find common ground with people from all walks of life. These early experiences would shape her into a free-spirited individual, comfortable with change and eager to explore new horizons. Growing up in the 1940s and 1950s, Joan was surrounded by the sounds of traditional folk music, which her father played on the guitar. She would often listen, entranced, as he sang Mexican folk songs, his voice filled with passion and conviction. These early exposures to music and storytelling would spark a deep appreciation for the art form and lay the groundwork for her future career. As Joan entered her teenage years, she began to develop a strong sense of social awareness, influenced by her parents' progressive values and the tumultuous events of the time. The civil rights movement was gaining momentum, with figures like Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks leading the charge against racial inequality. The Cold War was casting a shadow over American society, as the threat of nuclear war and communist infiltration hung in the air. Her parents' involvement in various social causes, including the Quaker community's commitment to pacifism, would later inform Joan's own activism and shape her music. She would attend meetings and rallies, listening intently as speakers like Cesar Chavez and Bayard Rustin spoke of justice, equality, and human rights. In 1958, at the age of 17, Joan attended a concert by Pete Seeger, a legendary folk musician and activist. This event would prove pivotal in her life, as she was deeply moved by Seeger's performance and the sense of community that permeated the audience. The experience sparked a desire to learn more about traditional folk music and to explore its potential as a tool for social commentary. She would begin to attend folk festivals and concerts, meeting like-minded individuals who shared her passion for music and social justice. The likes of Bob Dylan, Jack Elliott, and Ramblin' Jack would become close friends and collaborators as they navigated the vibrant folk scene of 1960s America. As we follow Joan Baez through her early years, we see a young woman beginning to find her voice, both literally and metaphorically. Her unique blend of cultural influences, family values, and exposure to social justice issues would soon coalesce into a powerful artistic expression, one that would resonate with audiences across the nation and inspire a generation of musicians and activists. The seeds of her remarkable career were being sown in these formative years as she navigated the complexities of adolescence and began to discover her place in the world. As Joan Baez's passion for folk music and social justice continued to grow, she began to perform at local clubs and coffee houses in the Boston area, where the dimly lit rooms and smoky air seemed to vibrate with the energy of rebellion. Her unique voice and style, which blended traditional folk with a contemporary sensibility, quickly gained attention from audiences and critics alike who were drawn to her raw emotion and unbridled enthusiasm. In 1959, she met Bob Gibson, a folk musician who would become a close friend and mentor, and he invited her to perform at the Newport Folk Festival, a seminal event that would change the course of her life forever. The day of the festival, July 11, 1959, was a sweltering summer afternoon with the sun beating down on the crowds gathered at the Newport Jazz Festival field. As Joan took the stage, she felt a mix of excitement and nerves, but as she began to sing, her voice soared, captivating the audience with its purity and power. She shared the stage with some of the most prominent folk musicians of the time, including Pete Seeger and Odetta Holmes, who became like family to her, offering guidance and support in the early days of her career. The following year, Joan released her debut album, Joan Baez, which featured traditional folk songs as well as some of her own compositions. The album was a critical and commercial success, with critics praising her hauntingly beautiful voice and her ability to interpret classic folk songs in a fresh and innovative way. The album established her as a major figure in the burgeoning folk music scene, which was exploding with creativity and energy in the early 1960s. As she continued to tour and record throughout the early 1960s, Joan's music became more nuanced and complex, reflecting her growing interest in social justice and activism. Her albums, including Joan Baez, Volume 2 and In Concert, showcased her remarkable vocal range and emotional depth, as well as her commitment to using her music as a force for change. She sang about freedom, love, and the struggles of the common man, her voice ringing out with conviction and passion. One of the most significant events in Joan's career took place on August 28, 1963, when she performed at the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, where Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. The day was a momentous one, with hundreds of thousands of people gathered on the National Mall, united in their quest for equality and justice. As she stood on the stage, looking out at the sea of faces, Joan felt a sense of pride and purpose, knowing that her music was playing a small part in the struggle for human rights. Her presence at this historic event cemented her reputation as a powerful voice for social justice and human rights, and she continued to use her platform to advocate for the causes she believed in. Throughout the 1960s, Joan continued to tour and record, releasing albums such as Any Day Now and Farewell, Angelina. She also became known for her high-profile relationships with several prominent musicians, including Bob Dylan and Mickey Newbury. Her romance with Dylan, in particular, was widely publicized, and the two musicians collaborated on several projects, including a joint tour in 1965. As they traveled together, Joan and Dylan would often sit up late into the night, swapping songs and stories, their conversation flowing easily from music to politics to philosophy. Their relationship was a tumultuous one, marked by periods of intense creativity and passion, but also by disagreements and misunderstandings. Despite the challenges they faced, however, their bond remained strong, and they continued to inspire and influence each other's work. As the decade progressed, Joan's music became increasingly eclectic, incorporating elements of rock, pop, and country into her folk sound. She released several albums that explored these new directions, including Diamonds in Rust and From Every Stage. The latter album, which featured live recordings from her 1975 tour, included a powerful rendition of her song, Diamonds in Rust, which reflected on her relationship with Dylan and the changing times. The song was a nostalgic one, looking back on the idealism and passion of the 1960s, but also acknowledging the disillusionment and fragmentation that had set in as the decade drew to a close. As Joan sang, her voice cracked with emotion, remembering the highs and lows of her time with Dylan and the ways in which their relationship had shaped her music and her sense of self. In 1967, Joan appeared at the Monterey Pop Festival, where she performed alongside some of the most influential musicians of the time, including Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and The Who. The festival was a pivotal moment in the development of popular music, marking a turning point away from the folk revival of the early 1960s and towards the psychedelic rock and counterculture of the late 1960s. As she took the stage, Joan felt a sense of excitement and trepidation, knowing that she was part of something new and innovative, but also uncertain about how her music would be received by the festival crowd. She sang with passion and conviction, however, her voice soaring above the din of the festival, and her performance was met with thunderous applause. Joan's commitment to social justice and activism continued throughout the 1960s and beyond, as she used her music to speak out against war, racism, and inequality. She sang at benefit concerts and rallies, using her platform to raise awareness and funds for the causes she believed in. And though the world around her was changing rapidly, Joan's core values remained the same, guiding her music and her actions with a sense of purpose and conviction. As the 1970s gave way to the 1980s, Joan Baez continued to evolve as an artist, incorporating new sounds and themes into her music while remaining committed to her core values of social justice and activism. The era was marked by great change, with the rise of punk rock and new wave challenging the traditional folk scene that had been Baez's stomping ground for decades. Yet, she navigated this shift with ease, collaborating with artists such as Jackson Browne and Glyn Johns on albums like Play Me Backwards and Speaking of Dreams. These records not only showcased her ability to adapt, but also highlighted her enduring influence on a new generation of musicians and activists. The release of Play Me Backwards in 1992 was particularly notable, as it saw Baez exploring new textures and themes in her music. Moreover, the record featured a duet with Jackson Browne on the song Stones in the Road, a powerful exploration of social justice and personal responsibility that underscored Baez's unwavering commitment to her values. As the 1990s progressed, Baez found herself increasingly drawn to environmental activism. She had always been an advocate for peace and human rights, but the looming specter of climate change and nuclear disarmament galvanized her into action. Her music became a powerful tool in this fight, with albums like Ring Them Bells and Dark Chords on a Big Guitar, featuring songs that address these pressing issues. The title track from Ring Them Bells, for example, was a rousing call to action, its soaring chorus and insistent rhythm urging listeners to become involved in the struggle for a more just and sustainable world. Baez's activism extended far beyond her music, however. She became a vocal advocate for environmental causes, using her platform to raise awareness about the urgent need for action on issues like climate change and nuclear disarmament. Her commitment to these causes was unwavering, driven by a deep sense of responsibility to future generations and a profound respect for the natural world. As she looked back on her life's work, Baez reflected on the power of music to inspire and transform, saying, "I've always believed that music has the ability to reach people at a deeper level than just about anything else. It can make us feel less alone and more connected to each other." Throughout her long and distinguished career, Joan Baez received numerous awards and honors for her contributions to music and social justice. She also received multiple Grammy nominations and a Lifetime Achievement Award from the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences, recognizing her status as a trailblazing artist and advocate for social change. Despite these accolades, however, Baez remained humble and grounded, always mindful of the greater good and the impact that her music could have on the world. She continued to tour and perform, albeit at a slower pace than in her youth, using her platform to inspire and educate audiences about the issues that mattered most to her. As she took the stage, her voice still soaring and her spirit still unbroken, Baez embodied the very essence of her music, a powerful fusion of art and activism that had inspired generations to work towards a more just and compassionate world. In her later years, Baez devoted more time to her painting and visual art, exhibiting her work in galleries and shows around the world. Her artwork, like her music, was characterized by its beauty, simplicity, and profound emotional resonance. As she approached the end of her life, Baez was surrounded by loved ones and admirers, all of whom were deeply grateful for the incredible legacy she had left behind. When asked about her own mortality, Baez replied, "I've never been afraid of death. I think it's just a part of the journey, and I'm grateful for every moment that I've had." Joan Baez passed away on January 1, 2023, at the age of 82, leaving behind a legacy that will continue to inspire and uplift generations to come. Baez's unwavering commitment to social justice and activism serves as a powerful example for us all, a beacon of hope and inspiration in a world that often seems divided and uncertain. Her music, her activism, and her unwavering commitment to justice and compassion have left an indelible mark on our collective consciousness, reminding us of the power of art to inspire and transform. We recall the iconic images of Baez at the forefront of the civil rights movement, marching alongside Martin Luther King Jr. and singing with a voice that could move mountains. We remember her courageous stand against the Vietnam War, using her music as a powerful tool for protest and dissent. And we honor her enduring legacy as a champion of environmental justice, using her platform to raise awareness about the urgent need for action on issues like climate change and nuclear disarmament. As we strive to make sense of our own place in the world, Baez's life and work offer a powerful reminder of the importance of living with purpose and conviction. Her music, her activism, and her unwavering commitment to social justice have inspired generations to work towards a more just and compassionate world. As we move forward into an uncertain future, we would do well to draw on the lessons of Baez's life and legacy, using our own unique gifts and talents to make a positive impact on the world around us. That's all for today's Biography with Plutarch. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that understanding the lives of remarkable individuals helps us better understand ourselves.